Hello, thank you for joining us for our 4th annual UT Southwestern Adaptive Sports Expo. My name is Jason Smith. I'm the director of the event. Alongside me today, we have Dr. Kathleen Bell. She's the chair of the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation at UT Southwestern. Our department is part of the O'Donnell Brain Institute. With Dr. Bell's help and the O'Donnell Brain Institute, we're pleased to collaborate with our other partners here at the University of Texas, Arlington. In particular, Doug Garner, the coach of the Movin' Mavs wheelchair basketball team.
This year has been a challenge for all of us. All of our lives have been dramatically altered with precautions and barriers that affect how we live and play. The ways in which we maintain our physical and our mental health have been affected. Experiencing life in the time of COVID has only strengthened our aim for this expo, for the wellness of our neighbors and our children with disabilities who live in the DFW area and beyond. By sharing information about adaptive sports and helping to make the connections with our partner organizations that host a variety of activities, there is something for every personality and every level of ability.
Today, we're excited to carry out the mission of the UT Southwestern Adaptive Sports Coalition by bringing you this virtual expo. We will be introducing you to just a few of our adaptive sports exhibitors and organizations. If you're watching this after the live premiere, we invite you to visit our website to view a list of our adaptive sports exhibitors to connect with them. The link is below. As with all things YouTube, please like and share this video.
Before we get started, however, we want to thank all of our partners and sponsors: UT Southwestern and the O'Donnell Brain Institute, University of Texas, Arlington, National Seating and Mobility, Texas Scottish Rite Hospital, PM&R Fort Worth, and Children's Health Dallas. Well, enough of this, Jason. Let's get the ball rolling and introduce our first exhibitor.
Hi, my name is Amy Simmons, and I am the coach of the DFW Rangers wheelchair rugby team. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I have a T5 complete spinal cord injury. I was injured when I was 17. I had a car accident and it left me paralyzed completely, almost immediately. But I was very active in high school as an athlete, and one of my main things that I wanted to do was get back to playing sports because that was a huge part of my life. Since my injury, I have gotten into a bunch of different sports that I've tried on not only a recreational level, but also at a very high level. I competed on the Team USA track and field team and competed at the World Championships in France. I may still currently hold a few American records on some things like that. I've also played wheelchair basketball over the years. But one thing that really stuck with me is wheelchair rugby. That is a sport, actually the very first sport that I learned about when I was in rehab. That was the very first sport that they took me to see. I still had my back brace on and everything, and I was just chomping at the bit to get out there and play because I was just so excited to find out that there was wheelchair sports out there that I could compete in, or anybody could compete in on a very competitive level. And so wheelchair rugby has stuck with me over the years. I can't technically classify to play because wheelchair rugby is played with athletes that have impaired function in at least 3, but typically 4 limbs. And because I still have the hands, I don't get to play on the competitive level, but I have kind of, I would say, wormed my way in over the years, and now I've become the coach of the local team. But along the way, when the team was just getting started, I was sometimes the 4th player just because they didn't have enough players to go to tournaments and things like that. So I've played and coached over the years, and it's just something that I still have a passion for. And I've also learned, because I'm an occupational therapist as well, I have a passion for teaching, and coaching is teaching. And so it's something that I really enjoy. And a little bit about the sport: it's played with 4 players on each team, and they have a limit of 8 points on the court per team. So each team will have 4 players, and that are classified based on their level of function. And their level of function is assigned by half-point increments, started with a 0.5 and goes all the way up to a 3.5. So you can't have 4 players with a classification of 3.5 on the court. The origins of wheelchair rugby are very interesting. The very first name that it had was murder ball. And not only did that scare people, but they also didn't really know what that meant. So the next name that it inherited was quad rugby, because like I said before, quad rugby stands for somebody who has impairments in typically all 4 limbs. And It also was traditionally named that because it was developed specifically for those with spinal cord injuries at the cervical level. So all 4 limbs were typically affected. That's the traditional sense of the quad rugby. It has morphed over the years to include a lot of other diagnoses as well. So people with CP or other kind of nondescript neurological injuries that affect at least 3 limbs in some way, as well as what are typically higher classifications in the sport these days for those who have amputations, typically in all 4 limbs or at least 3. So it's got a lot of different diagnoses and a lot of different competitive levels, but it's something that is very high intensity. And rugby is the name that it was given because it is the closest sport that they could think of to name it when you were trying to transition from murder ball into something that people recognized. But it has a combination of not only rugby, but basketball, soccer, hockey, football. It is a full contact, high intensity, typically high speed sport, but the contact happens with the chairs most of the time. Sometimes you get a little body contact here and there, but that's where you get sent to the penalty box, like I mentioned with hockey. So what we're gonna do now is demonstrate or illustrate how a couple of the chairs that you would typically see on the rugby court work together. We have offensive chairs and defensive chairs. The offensive chairs are typically used by the higher class athlete, or the high pointers as they're typically referred to. And these are typically the athletes that are the ball handlers and doing a lot of the passing. And they tend to have a little bit more speed and hand function. And then there's low pointer chairs or defensive chairs. And these are typically the lower classifications or less hand function guys. And they work a little more like blockers that you would refer to in football. And they do a lot of the picking and trying to use their chair, because you will see that it's made a little bit differently. And they are the defensive specialists trying to stop the offensive players from getting where they want to go. So in this demonstration, we have Andy in an offensive chair, and he is on offense in this particular scenario. And we have Josh in the defensive chair, number 4, and he is on defense in this scenario. And we're going to show how somebody with a little bit less function, little lower classification, can use his chair to stop somebody with a little more speed and a little more strength. So you guys show them how it's done. And they'll keep fighting and keep working to try to get loose, but that defensive chair is really getting the work done with that picker on the front. In this scenario, we're going to demonstrate what it's like for these players to be working together on offense. And Andy, number 1, is the ball handler, and he's going to be working on picking the ball up as though it got loose on the court. Josh, number 4, is going to be the blocker, and he's going to be working with Andy to try to block his way down the court. So come on, guys, and show them how it's done. People often wonder about ball handling in rugby, and one of the main things is you don't have to dribble with every movement. You just have to make sure you dribble or pass every 10 seconds. For more information, you can email us at dfwrangerswcrugby@gmail.com.
Hey, I'm Aaron Summerall. I'm a 37-year-old freshman at UTA. And I'm from Utah. So my accident came about in 2004. I was involved in a high-speed motorcycle wreck. I was doing about 125 miles per hour, and the back tire blew out on my bike. I speed wobbled, went down, hit some trees on the side of the road. Woke up about 2 days later in the hospital in Utah and missing my leg. I remember very specifically kind of eyes fluttering open, and at the end of my bed was my dad and my brother, and they were both crying, which for my dad that was totally usual, but for my brother that was very unusual. And so as I looked at them and kind of smiled, they smiled back, and they like kind of started to get up, and I kind of panned down and realized, oh God, my leg's missing. And so it was a moment of like panic and just being scared, really. When I lost my leg, I thought it would stop me from doing a lot of activities. I was trying to walk on at Weber State in Ogden, Utah as a football player. And so I knew that dream was immediately dead, and just started thinking of all the things that I couldn't do was really my first thought processes, and eventually later got to the point where I started realizing there is a lot of things I can do and I want to take advantage of them. I got into adaptive sports through one of my dad's friends. He's actually been in a wheelchair and had played wheelchair basketball for a long time. And he came to me and asked me, do you want to play wheelchair basketball? And for the first 10 or so years, I was just really, really angry still at, life, at God, at whatever. And he kept bugging me, and eventually he says, man, just come to one practice. And if you come to one practice, you don't like it, you don't want to come back, I'll never bother you again. And so I went, and by the end of practice, I was like, dude, why are we stopping? When's the next one? Can we keep going? And it gave me a new outlook on life. And I would say that wheelchair basketball literally saved my life, because I was just in a really dark place when I lost my leg. Joining adaptive sports has been one of the greatest blessings of my life. For anybody that's in that dark place, I would say my advice would be give it a shot. What do you have to lose, But adaptive sports can help with so many things. Staying physically active, which was a huge part of my life before and since my accident. The mental and cognitive of knowing that you have like people around you that can show you different avenues of where to get help for everything from chairs to catheters to playing more sports, to getting your education paid for. You really do. We live in an awesome country where you have those opportunities if you're willing to search them out and go for it. I've tried everything from track and field, throwing the discus and javelin. Also have done sled hockey, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair football. My next few sports, I want to try fencing and softball. And I think those it's just really good opportunities. I love public speaking. I love trying to help people work through those issues. And as part of it, I think being a gold medalist would go a long ways into helping prove that, if you really set your mind to it, it's definitely accomplishable. I think what you need in adaptive sports that maybe I didn't think that I would need before was the willingness. Really was the biggest thing. Open-mindedness and willingness to go and push your chair and try something new, because there's a lot of things that I didn't think I would be good at. And then when I gave them a shot, I realized, wow, I not only am I good at it, I like it. And so, yeah, that would be the thing that I would say is an open mind and willingness to go and do it.
Hello, my name is Deborah McAlexander. The sport I am representing is para-dressage. I train 7 days a week at North Texas Equestrian Center, a United States Equestrian Federation Center of Excellence, owned and operated by Kai Hunt. Kai is the former United States Equestrian Federation para-dressage chef d'équipe. He is also the only para-dressage coach at a master level in the United States. You might be interested to know how I see. I am legally blind. I have no sight in my left eye since I'm age 24. In my right eye, I see through a straw of center tunnel vision. One of my goals is to qualify at some point and represent the United States on the United States para-dressage team to compete in future Paralympics and World Equestrian Games. I am the only, at this time, United States equestrian with visual impairment who has national classification for competition. In July of 2019, I journeyed all by myself to Gloucester, England, and received confirmed classification from the International Blind Sports Federation for competition. Dressage is a high-level equestrian sport that evolved from cavalry exercises. It has been a sport in the Olympic Games since 1912. The horse does precise movements at predetermined spots, areas in the arena, responding to the rider's almost invisible, hopefully it is, leg, hand, and seat movements. Para-dressage is dressage for riders with an eligible permanent physical disability. These riders are classified according to their disability and the level of the disability. The idea for this is that all individuals with a disability have the right to compete and to achieve their goals in equestrian sport. And they are classified and participate in specific grades, which is established according to what that disability level is. We do what is called tests in arena sizes that are 20 meters by 60 meters or 40 meters by 60 meters. Our tests are, as I said earlier, a predetermined pattern that the horse and the rider do. We are judged by 1 to 5 judges. Our scores are notated on a sheet, a score sheet, and these are submitted as we go through our process of qualifying for different levels of competition. At this time, I have qualified this year to participate in the United States Paradressage National Championships. I have a fabulous horse. His name is Cornet Noir. He's a Bavarian warm-blood horse, 11 years old. He is the most willing, incredibly kind, and trustworthy horse there is. You may be interested to know about what kind of equipment we use. Depends on which grade you're in. The grades go from grade 1 to grade 5. Grade 1 is for the athletes with the most severe disabilities. So some of these riders may be almost totally paralyzed, and they basically will just be walking with their horse. But I should explain, this is not Special Olympics. This training is for competition parallel to the Olympic Games. So everything has to be done at an elite level of performance as you go through the different levels, from an emerging athlete to a developing athlete to an elite athlete for performances. So as you go through these different levels, and depending on which grade the athlete is in, the classification manual has specific equipment that can be used by the individual. I do know, for instance, there's a European rider in grade 2 who has no legs. So one of her adaptive pieces of equipment, of course, would be a bucket kind of saddle that she can be strapped into safely with straps that would break away if would need be, but that would allow her to compete. And since she doesn't have legs, I thought, well, how do you do a leg yield? You have no legs. She's allowed to use a whip in each hand that she can lightly touch the horse to help that horse. As for me, I'm in grade 5 because I have a little bit of sight. If I was totally blind, I would be in grade 4. When I compete, it would be in the para test, it will be against athletes that are also in grade 5. But as I said, I am the only one at this time with blindness disability. So I will be competing against athletes with other types of disabilities, but who have been found to be in the same functional category level for competition to make it as fair as possible. Some adaptive things that I use are the ability to have a collar, if I need, at each of the letters in an arena. I can have up to 12 collars, and also a collar at X, which is in the middle of the arena if you look at the diagram. I don't use these at this time, but what I do use is always, I have a yellow armband that says blindness disability that I'm allowed to wear on the competition grounds. I also have an orange vest that I had embroidered on a blind rider. And I do have to tell you something funny about that. The first horse show that I went to, in the warm-up arena, I'm wearing this vest. And I thought, well, hopefully everybody's going to see this and know that I'm a blind rider, so please stay out of my way. So as I'm riding around, this lady is coming towards me on her horse, and she says, "It's supposed to be shoulder to shoulder, get out of my way." And I looked at her and said, "Ma'am, I have blindness disability." Her mouth dropped open, I think, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid." So what I learned from that is, as a person with a blindness disability, I cannot expect the world to get out of my way. I have to learn to always be safe in what I'm doing, but sometimes I feel like I almost have to see better with my little straw of sight than the sighted people that I'm around. The competitions that I have been in so far have all been for able-bodied competitors. I have usually been the only rider there who is a para-dressage rider. And so the medal that I have on, I'm actually quite proud of this, because last year in Katy, Texas at the Region 9 Championships, I won the class for which I rode in with this medal. And I rode against 5 other riders who were all sighted, able-bodied riders. So I will always treasure this specific medal. I am blessed to train at an adaptive center where I have the best coaches in the world. And I do have to say that since I am the first rider doing this with blindness disability, we've kind of had to figure out a lot of things. I rely on my hearing a lot. I rely on my coaches helping me as far as judging the different marks and the different letters in the arena, which is challenging when you only see through a straw of sight. But what I've learned is there are no excuses. I have a dream, I have a journey to represent our country in future Paralympic Games and World Equestrian Games. And I'm learning I will do whatever it takes to work hard, to work smart, to believe the impossible is possible, to never quit, and to achieve my goals. The impossible is always possible. If you have a passion to want to ride horses, to want to feel the freedom of being on a huge 1,400-pound animal and being able to ride on that animal and guide and control that animal, don't give up on your dream, no matter what it takes. That's why, and I'm gonna almost start crying maybe, but that's why this is so passionate for me. I can't drive a car. I walk sometimes 5 miles a day to get to the barn back and forth to ride my horse. And the freedom that I feel when I'm riding, the self-esteem it's given me, the courage, the confidence, knowing that nothing is impossible if you just believe that if you work hard and work smart, you can do this, it can happen. So that's what I want to say to each of you. Cornette Noir and I bring you hope, and we bring you help also. Look up in your area. Is there a riding facility? Man, I'm in Texas. There's like riding facilities all over the place. I've never seen so many different places. But you just, first of all, the first important thing is always just to learn to ride the horse. And before that even happens, to bond with the horse, to groom the horse, to just enjoy being with a living creature who allows us the privilege to get on its back and to experience this freedom. Whatever you think could be an obstacle, there's always a way to overcome that. So this is just what I want to inspire you, that along our journey, you can become anyone you want to be. And if you would like to become a competitor in a paradressage sport, if you would like to just go and ride for fun, if you want to just go and groom the horses, any of these different avenues are okay, whatever your passion and your dream is. Just never give up. Never give up on your dreams, because I always tell people losing eyesight is far less significant than losing vision beyond eyesight. If you're interested in finding out more about paradressage competition and riding, please go to the United States Para-Equestrian Association website. That's USPEA. Hope Hand is the president of this organization. She will be thrilled that you have contacted her. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jim Woods with Many Hooves of Love Therapeutic Horses. This is my wife Linda and our daughter Kelly. We're glad to be here today to talk to you about what we do with Many Hooves of Love and our miniature horses. We really do enjoy going out and visiting with different people in different places. So we're just going to talk very shortly about it and fill you in on some of the things that happen with Many Hooves. We use miniature horses to bring comfort and joy to people who are hurting, that are struggling with all sorts of different problems. We do a lot of visits to children's hospitals, regular hospitals, nursing homes, memory care units, schools, and especially for the special ed classes in their schools. We started this project back in 2012 and turned out to be one of the best things we've ever done. We are able to reach children and adults before they actually get to some of the activities that you'll hear about here today. We have the opportunity to see them while they're in the hospital, while they're in recovery in different facilities. And it's one of those things that, you see, kids see dogs a lot, but they don't see miniature horses very often. And so when we come in with the horses, the response is always very much a lot of just oohs and ahs and oh my goodness. We enjoy what we do because, as I tell other people, we get to see the fruit of all the smiles. We can see upwards of 500 smiles in one day, and it's pretty hard to do that in a lot of settings. But when we're doing that, we're doing a program we call Just Say Whoa to Bullying. We take it into schools and present it, and we give them glimpses of what it's like to really acknowledge difference. That difference is good, that difference doesn't make us need to be bullied or anything else. We have Monarch, who's our oldest horse, and then Hero, who's one of the youngest ones, who are half brothers. But Monarch is about 33 inches tall, and Hero is about 22 to 23 inches tall. So there's a big variance in size and color, and it just helps impress upon the kids that things are different. Some people are different, but it's okay. The other thing that we do with kids a lot of times is it's therapeutic in that we let them walk beside us and let them hold on to the lead rope for the horses, so they are actually walking a horse. And if they're in a wheelchair, they roll along, but they still hold that lead rope. And if they're in a bed or on a stretcher, they still roll along beside and hold that rope that's holding that horse. And talk about smiles. That's when you can really, really get some big smiles. We're glad to be here today to present this to you. Our motto is sometimes we don't have to be anything special to be in presence of one of these patients or kids or whatever, but it just lets them know that somebody's there, that somebody really does care, and that we're there to give them their smiles.
Our mission is to give people the opportunity to interact with a horse on a different level than what they normally would. Most of the people that we see have never even been up close to a horse or interacted with a horse. It's different, it's magical, and we love what we do. If you want to check out more about us, you can find us at on the website of www.manyhoovesoflove.org. You can find us on Facebook. That's where we're most prevalent. Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So please come join us, come look us up. And if you'd like to volunteer, we're always looking for more volunteers. We have approximately 16 adults and 7 junior volunteers. We accept volunteers starting at the age of 14. If they're younger than that and they have their parent with them, they can come and interact at our ranch. But otherwise, to most of the facilities, they have to be 14 to 16 years old in order to participate. So we need behind the scenes volunteers as well as ones that would go out with us to help out when we do take them out to visit. So come join us.
Can't wait to see you next year.
I'm Isaac Lipscomb. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Homestead, Florida. I got in a car accident November 21st, 2016. I was a junior in high school at the time. I was on the football team. I was with 2 of my friends and I was a lone survivor in the car accident. I just woke up in the hospital. They were talking to my parents, to my mom and my sister, and I overheard them say, "Oh, he's paralyzed from the waist down now." And then the only thing I could really think about was like, dang, my football career is over. I finished my junior year. Then my senior year came, and then my old track and field coach came up to me in the hallway and he asked me if I wanted to do adaptive track and field. I never heard of it, so I didn't really think much of it, but I was like, I really just said yes just to like stay in shape. I started going to meets at my high school. Then I became the first Miami-Dade County student to go to states and win the adaptive state championship. And then I went to the Dixie Games in Orlando to qualify for Junior Paralympics. And I went to Indiana and I won the javelin and the shot put for the F-55 class. And then from there, I went to community college for 3 semesters, got in contact with the coach here at UTA, and I just ended up here, and then just to do track and field, adaptive track and field, and then now I play wheelchair basketball as well. The adaptive sports is brought like an old part of me back to especially the wheelchair basketball, because like it's a team sport, and I haven't been on a team sport since 2016. So, and I just started back being on a team sport like 2 weeks ago. I get that feeling back like of being on a team. It brought back good memories. It made me feel like an athlete again, like a real athlete. Like actually like sweating in practice and like, you know, putting in work in with your teammates. And it means a lot because I thought at that point when it first happened, I just thought everything was over. I basically thought my life was over until I learned about it, and then I'm just stuck to it. I know everybody's different. Everybody takes like situations different in life. You can't like skip the fact that you're gonna be sad about what happened to you. Like you gotta grieve a little bit. You gotta be sad about it. Like you have to, because if you don't do it now, if you hold it back, then it's gonna stick with you, and then you don't want to carry that with you. You gotta just face it when it's there, and then once you realize that, like, oh yeah, I went through that. So, and that's the worst thing that ever happened in my life. Then what can really stop me? Because it's really not just you. It's a whole lot of other people out there that's going through something worse than what you're going through. So I really just always think about it like it's always somebody that got it worse out there than me. So I just be grateful for what I got and what I can do. Leaving practice, like just by leaving practice with my arms sore and my body just tired, like that just makes me feel good, because me knowing personally I haven't felt that in quite a few years, to bring back that old feeling. But and like socially, like to be honest, I wouldn't hang out with like a lot of people in wheelchairs just because where I'm from, like I don't really see a lot of people in wheelchairs. But since I've been here, it's been nothing but good vibes, and really just like normal stuff, like, you know, playing the game, chilling with your friends, going out to eat with your teammates, like just bonding, like building real team chemistry, and like that. It's small to some people, but like when you miss it for quite a few years, you realize how important it is and how good it makes you feel to be a part of something.
Hi, my name is Ron Davis. I'm a professor at Texas Women's University. My area is in kinesiology, specifically in adaptive physical activity. I'm here today to share with you some of the sports and activities that we have for students with disabilities and students without disabilities that play adapted sport. The name of our club, we have a club at the university, is the Adapted Sport Club, and it is about 3 years old. We have students in the undergraduate and graduate programs that come and participate in our activities. The activities include indoor and outdoor, and are wheelchair soccer, indoor wheelchair basketball, goal ball for the visually impaired, sitting volleyball. The sports that we have everything to do with helping students understand sport and how to engage and interface with individuals that have a disability. If you look at indoor wheelchair soccer, it is the soccer game. It started with a sport called handball, team handball, and it moved to indoor wheelchair soccer. Our sitting volleyball has been addressed around the county, in the university, and different parts of the state, including University of Texas at Arlington. So we've done clinics and we've done activity specials for those that are not quite capable of being independent on the court. So we do some modifications with playing in chairs, playing with different sized balls, etc. The other sports that we have are a little more competitive, and we do have that opportunity to go other places to play. We've done clinics with the military. I have a program called Project Invest, and that stands for Injured Veterans Engaging in Sport Together. And we have taken them to settings to play golf on the driving range, in the gym, on the climbing wall. We have a rather robust program we're very proud of. Recently, there are two organizations that have merged, and these are outside our university program. The two programs that we're mentioning have merged to form one organization. They used to be Adapted Sport USA and Disability Sport USA. What it's now called is Move United, where both organizations have come together. And the reason I'm excited about it is they have a brand new sport that they're showcasing is wheelchair football. And this is probably the most sophisticated of all the sports that I've just talked to you about. There are 3 NFL football organizations that are supporting the start of this sport. But it's very sophisticated in the sense that they have training videos, they have practice videos, they play on a 60-yard field with 15-yard increments. It is brand new, but it's relatively new to our part of the country. One sport is in Nashville, one organization is in Phoenix, and we're hoping to have the third spot to be in Dallas, but we haven't quite landed that one yet. To clarify the sports that we've talked to you about today, we have them at TWU. They're co-ed, are also played with students without disabilities and students with disabilities. Again, this is brand new. This is an opportunity to pull in players that might have played the sport and enjoy this sport. It's rigorous, it's a little more engaging. There are practice sessions, as I mentioned. There are plays that are run, and there are videos that are used to help train the athletes. So with all that, I think we have a pretty good showing of adapted sport, and we're hoping that it will continue to grow, both at our university and in the community and around the country. To learn more about the sports that I've talked to you about, you can go to www.twu.edu, and that will give you the information on the sports on our campus. Or you can go to Move United, and that will give you the information on the wheelchair football. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you will reach out and join us.
Hi, my name is Lizzie Becker. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born with spina bifida, which affected my lower back. I had a bubble, and so they had to close it right as I was born, and it caused my legs to stop moving, and so that's why I'm in a wheelchair. When I was 10 years old, I found adaptive sports. A lady came up to me and asked me if I'd ever played wheelchair basketball, and I had never done it before. I wasn't really interested in it, wasn't into sports, but my mom did make me go, and it was one of the best experiences that I ever had, and I immediately fell in love with the sport. I am 20 years old now, and I'm currently on the Lady Moving Mavs wheelchair basketball team. And I also do track and field and archery. I discovered those sports shortly after I started playing wheelchair basketball. And adaptive sports has completely changed my life because I was always pretty quiet, introverted, and I didn't really have a group of people that I could hang out with. And adaptive sports really opened a bigger world for me. I was able to play sports with people with other disabilities, but when I played wheelchair basketball, I really didn't see the disability. We were all just playing and being competitive, and I was able to find a big support system and really find a part of myself that I didn't know that I had. So I think for someone that doesn't see a lot of hope and they don't see an avenue or a way to go, I think with adaptive sports, it's just taking that step of faith and just trying it. I know when I first started playing basketball, I tried all different kinds of sports and really trying to figure out which one I liked the most. And basketball just happened to be the one that stuck with me, but just really trying it out, and it's something that you gotta try, and I think that you'll find something, whether that's basketball, rugby, table tennis, any of those sports. I think you'll find joy and a lot of fun in it. Being able to play adaptive sports has given me the confidence to be more of an advocate for myself and get a college degree and to really discover what I like to do as far as my degree goes. And so my confidence is still growing for sure, but it's definitely excelled since I started playing basketball and getting involved in adaptive sports. Last year in 2019, I made my first U.S. national team, and that's always been an aspiration and dream of mine. But my ultimate goal for basketball, I've always wanted to make the Paralympic team. And with everything going on with the pandemic, the Olympics and Paralympics have been postponed, but I'm still trying to fight for that team in 2024. But aside from basketball, I'm pursuing my degree in broadcasting.
And if someone that you knew, like a friend, was interested in wheelchair basketball,
I want to be a sports broadcaster so I can promote and broadcast adaptive sports so people can better understand and really enjoy watching the sports. Yeah, that's just something I want to see people enjoy and really understand.
Hi, my name is Doug Garner, and I am the Assistant Director of Campus Recreation at University of Texas Arlington, also the head men's wheelchair basketball coach and director of our adapted sports programs, and welcome to UTA. I want to talk a little bit about where our program has come from, because our program started in 1976. And if you know much about that time, that was just the beginning of some of the civil rights movements for programs for young people with disabilities in public schools and moving on up to higher education. So Coach Jim Hayes, who was one of the first students with a disability here at UTA, started an exercise program for our students with disabilities on campus. That program grew into a recreational basketball team, and gradually through the support of the university, some support with vocational rehabilitation, with U.S. tennis, the program grew into an adapted sports program for our students here on campus with disabilities. Coach Hayes was able to garner a lot of support on campus to the point where, as UTA's program got more accessible and successful, the university made the decision to go ahead and fund the program as an athletic program. So UTA was maybe the first school to offer scholarships for our wheelchair basketball athletes. Prior to that time in the 80s, several students from UTA were Paralympians. Coach Hayes was a Paralympian. So they were representing UTA and the United States at the Paralympic Games in track and field, in rugby, in tennis. UTA won 4 straight national championships in wheelchair basketball. And other schools were recognizing if they were going to remain competitive and if they were really going to do what an adapted sports program at a college or university should do, they need to be adding scholarships. Like able-bodied sports, the whole idea of sport programs at the college level is education. Education is the vehicle for anybody to get out of poverty. And so that's one of the things that's very transformative about this program. College adapted sports is very, very true to that root of come to college, get your education, get a job, be able to take care of yourself and your family, and be an active part of the community. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy about our program here is helping students who maybe never thought they would be able to get a job, develop the skills that they need to get a job in today's world. Part of my job, other than coaching the wheelchair basketball team, is doing adapted recreation here at UTA. There's very few services across the United States to address the need for college students with disabilities to be active and participate and actually be out in the mainstream of college life. And that's another part of my job that I really enjoy, is putting together programs where our traditional students and our students with disabilities are participating in programs together. We work with UT Southwestern and help produce the awesome Adapted Sports Expo so that people in the community can learn about the abilities of people with disabilities, but those moms and dads that are out there and those kids that are out there that think, oh, what can I do? What can I do? They learn there's so many things in their community that they can do. Diving, billiards, bowling. If it is a sport, you can find a way to do it. And so we get supply companies who can come in and help educate. Here's the chair that you need for this sport or this sport. You can come to the expo and you can meet people in those sports and clubs and organizations that raise money for equipment, and as a result they have loaner equipment that they can loan out. You can try some of the equipment at the expo, but you can also learn about grants that are out there across the country that help people with disabilities fund adapted sports equipment. So Challenged Athletes Foundation, Swim with Mike. There's a lot of organizations great foundations that provide a lot of support because they know the expense of not only your daily medical and your daily wheelchair, but also the equipment that you need to get out and be active. And there's so many people who don't want that equipment to be the burden or the barrier for you to get out and participate. At UTA, we've had several of our student athletes participate in World Championships and Paralympics, national team in quad rugby, gold medalist in tennis, sitting volleyball, and sled hockey. We help them find what their passion is as a sport or just as an activity. Our men's wheelchair basketball team has won 9 championships, 8 national championships, and this last year we won the conference, but weren't able to go to the national championship tournament because of the COVID. But it was a very successful season. We went 14-0, and our women got second. We started a program for women in 2013 that's gone on to win 2 national championships. I know in 2016 Rio, we had 3 girls on the Paralympic team that won a gold medal in Rio. We combine the best of academics, the best of sports, the best of athletes we can recruit and find from around the world who not only want to play and perform at the highest levels, but also get their degrees. We worked with UT Southwestern. We did research on concussions in collegiate wheelchair basketball and injuries in collegiate wheelchair basketball to try to make our sport better. And we wanted to show you a sport wheelchair, how it's a little bit different. He's going to show you how he transfers into the chair. So this wheelchair made by UTA alumni at Performex Wheelchairs in Grand Prairie, and Aaron is pretty functional. He's going to show you how he just hops in the chair. Now, moms, there's no brakes, so it's a process learning how to get into the chairs, but once they're in, it's a freedom that kids have never experienced before. It's like Christmas whenever they get a new ball chair, and we're really excited to work with Performax, but that's how Aaron gets in. We missed being here live this year and seeing everybody who's interested in being the best that they can be and getting out and being active. But if you want to get in touch with us, we can help you get in touch with local groups that are doing sports. You can reach us through our social media. We have very active social media. Our website is www.uta.edu/movingmavs, or you can email us at movingmavs@uta.edu. Here's to next year. Hopefully we'll have some of new people out here, some of our returning friends, and we'll be back with the Expo again.
Thank you for joining us today and participating in the virtual UT Southwestern Adaptive Sports Expo. I hope you enjoyed learning more about the DFW area adaptive sports organizations and the variety of activities that are available. There really is something for everyone.
I can't agree more, Jason. And I encourage all of you to challenge yourself to learn more about these adaptive sports by visiting our website to get contact information for the organizations represented today and more. The link is in the description below. I also challenge you to continue participating in such activities or exploring new activities you might have heard about today. Thank you for joining us.
On a personal note, we missed you, and we look forward to seeing you next year, when we hope you can drop in on the Expo and experience what we intended in person. Now, don't forget to click that like button, and for now, stay safe, stay active, and until next year.